everyone, welcome to another Hollywoke Hot Take. I'm Tony D, and underneath this blanket is Little Joan. Little Joan, you want to poke out your cute head? Oh, there you are, cutie. There you are. Everyone's talking about Armie Hammer and his crazy tweets and DMs that apparently leaked, although he seems to be denying that they were his. I'm not quite sure. But he has left the movie Shotgun Wedding. It's going to be recast. So what happened? Well, according to some, Armie Hammer's a bit of a nut when it comes to DMing the ladies. He's basically plays around with being a cannibal and talks about doing stuff like a cannibal, kind of in a sexual nature. I don't know what that's about. Some people are into that, I guess. And now it's sort of come out. But, you know, they frame it as multiple victims of Armie Hammer. Are they victims if they willingly talked to the guy and didn't hang up the moment he said something weird like that? People say weird stuff. They're weird. I'm not... Did he do anything is the question. I don't think he did. I think he's just being weird and outrageous to get girls. And he's pushing and pushing and pushing them to keep them off balance and off kilter so he could have sex with them. Why not? He's super big movie star guy and he wants to bang hot girls, I assume. And this is his shtick. Being, you know, dangerous, pretending to be dangerous. Is it real? He says it's BS, or most of it's BS, but, you know, it's not a good look. It's one thing if you're some rando who's doing this and, you know, and you weren't, like, world famous. Armie is pretty famous. Is it Armie or Arnie? I think it's Armie. Yeah, Armie. Armie is pretty famous. I mean, he's been in some pretty big films. So he's not totally unknown. He's probably got a decent amount of money. Guy's an actor, so he's handsome. I mean, but so for some people, it's not enough. They like to push the edge. I'm not really defending the guy, but at the same time, he hasn't broken any laws that I could see. So I think they're just persecuting him because he's a weirdo and people just like to dogpile on that kind of stuff. Yeah, certainly if you were in high school and this came out and somebody's DMs were really strange and sort of weird, violent fantasies, you might alert somebody. But if he's not hurting anybody and, you know, the girls he talked to, they don't like it, they should just hang up on him and never talk to the guy again. Just block them. You know you can block people with your phone, right? You just go doop doop. You never hear from them again. I've done it myself. I've done it on Twitter. I've done it on YouTube. I mean, electronics are great. That's what we used to say back in the 90s. You don't like a TV show? Just don't watch it. Problem solved. You don't have to censor it. Just never watch it. Pretend like it never existed. So, I you know, it's weird. The guy seems to have an issue of some kind. Maybe if they're, you know, maybe they're not his DMs. Maybe he has been framed or whatever. But, you know, who cares? He was in a movie. Now they're going to recast him over this. Well, that's why I told you, celebrities, get off of Twitter. I was saying to someone last night, if I was a celebrity, had millions of dollars, you'd never see me on Twitter or any social media for that matter. I'd have a guy. And I'd say to my guy, what's on this? Anything cool on social media? Yeah, they're talking about your books, and they said this, and they said that. And I'd be like, oh, okay, great. Maybe once in a while I'd come in and say, hi, everybody. Good, great to see everybody. Thanks for buying my books. And that would be it. That would be it. Maybe I'd do an AMA once in a while under controlled conditions. That would be it. Why would you open yourself up to more criticism? Why would you open yourself up to every rando on the planet just showing up and going, Wah! Some people don't learn. Yeah. So, anyhow, celebrities are celebrating the impeachment. And there's a whole list of more of them going on and on. But, I've gone through this before. Here's Michael Moore. The vote is in. A sociopathic, disgraced, failed president who incited a violent insurrection which killed 5 people, injured dozens, damaged wide swaths of the Capitol building, and forced 535 members of Congress to flee for their lives. He is now encased in infamy. Now convict. A, not going to happen. B, none of that's true. None of it's true. He'll go down in history as probably, so far, assuming he doesn't get back in 2024, Michael, the greatest one-term president in history. Easily. Easily he will go down in history as that. He accomplished more in 4 years than Obama accomplished in his entire life, basically. That most people don't, peace in the Middle East, that will be his greatest legacy. Unless Biden comes in and wrecks it all. But even then, Biden will be known as the guy who, Biden. Michael Moore, I don't know what happened to this guy. I really don't. He was once such a populist, as a filmmaker, and now I've never seen a guy more establishment than Michael Moore now, in my view. But there you go. And then Rob Reiner, of course. Yeah. Alec Baldwin. It's all the big names. Alyssa Milano, of course. Mark Hamill, very disappointing. Chrissy Teigen. The Daily Show. We got you at Real Donald Trump. Yeah. Trevor Noah, you're not from this country, so really you shouldn't be talking about this. Michael Rappaport. Dude. Michael Ian Black. Disappointing. Jeffrey Wright, another guy with TDS. Don Cheadle, another guy. I mean, it's all the same people. Patton Oswalt. Basically, my list of people who, they're just too political. They're just way too political for me. Some of them may live to regret their wacky antics online, which they didn't need to do. Almost everybody on this list is a millionaire many times over. Yeah, I think pretty much everybody. They're very rich people for the most part. They have very comfortable lives. So, I don't know. Everybody likes to push their luck, I guess. Tom Hanks is hosting a star-studded Biden inaugural special. Oh my, I can't wait for this to tank. And this reminds me of a Simpsons bit where, I forget what it was in. I want to say it was the movie, but Tom Hanks comes out, and it's actually the voice of Tom Hanks, and he says something like, the U.S. has lost its all its credibility. They're borrowing some of mine, so I may tell you this message. This is exactly what Biden's people are doing. They're using, I think, Tom Hanks's credibility as the guy who pretty much everybody likes to host the inaugural special, which, man, I mean, the fact that they had to do this to get people to watch the inaugural special, I mean, it's just going to be watching paint dry. I don't know if I'm going to watch it. Maybe I'll live stream it. I mean, I don't even know what time. What time is it on? Does it say? Yeah, a slew of pop stars are set to perform on the TV special. See, I don't even think you can run live stream this kind of thing anymore. First off, you definitely can't do the music. They nail you on the music on YouTube. Maybe if BitChute has a deal by then. Marvel hopes to conjure up streaming magic with WandaVision. I said before, this show doesn't look particularly woke, except that all the focus is on Wanda and not Vision, but this is much like the Marvel comic of that era. When Wanda and Vision got their comic, it was, oh, a Wanda Vision comic? Who cares? Like, that's not why, You read them. You read them because they just happened to be in the Avengers, which was a team book. And as team players, they were okay characters in their own deal. And then they're using this whole hopping through history of television thing. I mean, this couldn't be more of an old idea. This is such a moldy, crusty, redone idea. They did it on, again, Simpsons did it. It's just, and Kevin Feige is part of the deal. I guess, what is he doing? He's the boss now, Marvel Studio boss. I just can't imagine they thought this was a new, fresh idea. And you know, they're doing a whole Dick Van Dyke parody, I guess, in this sequence here that's in black and white. Who the hell is old enough to remember this show? Me. I used to watch the reruns because I was a bit of a TV junkie when I was a kid, but even when I was watching the show was super old. My folks would say, "Why are you watching that old show?" And now, I mean, you know, I guess people watch this on Nick at Night. I guess a few people do, but holy cow, who would remember it enough that they're gonna watch? I guess this is on Disney Plus. Who's gonna watch Disney? I mean, like, what's the average age of a Disney Plus watcher? Like 14, maybe. So I mean, I think they really missed the mark with this show. I kind of understand why they do it. It actually fits the Wanda and Vision character, but I don't think this could be a show that would appeal to anybody except the most ardent TV junkie. You know what other shows about for TV junkies was Family Guy. That was Peter's shtick in almost every single season of the show until they finally kind of exhausted all those jokes. Peter was a TV junkie, and all his references were like super hardcore old television. But even he rarely, like, I think in Family Guy one time they went back to the Dick Van Dyke show, but you know, it's just, and it's not like they're going to stay in Dick Van Dyke. They're going to jump around in the 60s and 70s, I guess, but you're talking about like people who would have to watch a lot of old TV to even get the damn joke. And I guess they're capitalizing on nostalgia in order to win people over. I just don't see it. Another thing I just don't see working is the Sopranos prequel movie, The Many Saints of Newark. I don't think you can do this without, you know, your lead actor. And James Gandolfini, sadly, is gone. He was a great actor. Watched The Drop, his last movie, his last, I guess, released movie. He's brilliant in The Drop, although Tom Hardy steals the whole show. But Gandolfini is amazing. It's an amazing movie and a wonderful send off, a great one to end on. But look, I may have done my whole Sopranos rant, but I'll just encapsulate it here. So the Sopranos was ruined by its own success and that of the death of the other main character, which was the actress who played his mother. And without that dynamic of mother and son, the show just wasn't there anymore. It was over. Okay? Now, they chose not to recast her, which I can respect from, you know, a sort of feeling standpoint, coworker standpoint. It would have been sad to recast her. It would have been undue pressure on the woman who would have had to replace her. But it wasn't a show without the mother character. And it really needed that mom character to make work. And the actress was brilliant in it. She was just absolutely mind-bogglingly good in that role. So even another actress coming in would have been a tough role. And they tried to make the show work. They did a flashback with a younger actress, and you know, they showed all her sort of evilness, but they really needed her for the whole show. That's where the show would have ended. Had she lived, the show would have probably culminated with her death. You know, possibly Not I wouldn't say at the hands of Tony, because I don't think that character could ever do that, even though he's a bit of a sociopath because he is, a guy who kills people for a living. But I think the climax of that show would have been Tony and his mother having it out in some manner. And maybe the end of the show would be him putting her in a home forever or something like that. Or maybe it would be him having this confrontation, finally telling her off, and then she dies. Something like that. It would have been brilliant. Unfortunately, I think the last few seasons of Sopranos, I just didn't even watch them. I just didn't even watch them. They after the mother died, the show just wasn't the same show. So, and I'm very down on prequels. I mean, to me, the only way a prequel could work, like when The Sopranos were on, some of the episodes were prequels. They were flashbacks to Tony as a kid, and, those were interesting because it was in that show and it went right back to the present day, and you could immediately see the contrast. The Sopranos hasn't been on for years. You're expecting people to remember all the twists and turns and, the tie-ins here, and you're gonna be talking about characters who we already know their fate. No, that just doesn't work for me. I'm sorry. It didn't even work in Star Wars. And prequels, nah. No thank you. Again, not that it's woke. It's just the prequel doesn't work for me. And finally, Peter Bart. Hollywood could help heal nations' divide if Operation Warp Speed was finally given a shot. Disneyland is going to become a mass beer virus vaccination site. Good for you, Disney. But even, and this article talks about Fauci wanting to open things up by the fall. Yeah, you have to. This is why you just have to open things up at this point. You're destroying the movie industry. And these people realize it. All right? At this point, you got, you don't even have a political reason to keep things locked down. Please just open things up before you destroy the entire economy. As it is, we're still going to be digging out of a hole, and Lord knows what Biden's going to do to the economy. So it's definitely destroying the movie industry. People are they're just out of, the habit of going to the movies. I used to go to movies all the time. Now, I'm out of it. Basically, I'll watch things on the computer, but it's a lot of people. You need to bring people back. You need to reinvent the entire theater concept and the experience from the ground up, and it needs to happen sooner rather than later. So yes, Joan is saying yes. She's agreeing with me. Open things back up. Save the movie industry. Save it. Right, Joan? Right, Joan? Right, Joan? Oh, of course, now you don't do it.